everybody, it's Old School Nerd. It's January 1st, 2025. It's a whole new year, but we can't start this year without talking about all the crazy stuff that happened last year. My name is Old School Nerd, and these are just some of the things that I noticed in 2024. All right, I know everyone does one of these videos, but mine's going to be a little bit different. I don't have a best of. I don't have a my favorite or my least favorite or whatever the case may be. You know what I've got? I've just got things I want to talk about. And one of the things I want to talk about is one of my favorite stories of the year. A story of redemption. A story of coming full circle. The story of Tank the Tech. Yes, yeah, that guy. Yeah, the guy with the beard that he shaved off to start the year. Pissed everyone off, but it's okay. We still love him. The guy that was the YouTube reactor that used to be the roadie, that quit being a reactor to be a roadie, and then wound up being a tour manager, and came back to being a content creator because he's a tour manager of a band that can't help but make you want to film them. Exactly. Yeah, Tank the Tech is one of my favorite stories of this year. I've spoken to Ian a few times. Love the guy. I ask him questions. He gives me honest answers. He inspires me in the way that he carries himself as a dad. He inspires me in the way that he carries himself as a professional. But also, he's just a guy. And that is what makes him so indelible to me. Yes, he's much younger than me, but I glean wisdom from him a lot of times. And I am a better content creator because of the content that he creates. And he's teaching me something that I thought I'd never do. There's more to the world than doing YouTube reactions. So, in 2025, I might be changing things up a little bit. But more on that later. Here we go. Tank the Tech was one of my favorite YouTube reactors. In fact, he was one of the YouTube reactors that I first saw that said, I can do that. And then I did it. And him and other YouTube reactors have been inspirations and guides and kind of people to warn me what to look for and what not to look for and help keep me grounded. And I'm thankful to all of them. But the reason why I'm talking about Tank the Tech in my 2024 review is because 2024 is probably the biggest year of Tank the Tech. Why? Wait a minute. He doesn't do reactions as much anymore. Exactly. It's the biggest year of his content, and he's cut his content by more than half. Maybe we should all be doing that. I don't know. But here's the thing. You know how you know Tank the Tech had one amazing year? Yeah, he finally won the Nick Nocturnal Award for Best Content Creator on the year that he made his least amount of content. Why is that a thing? Because it was the best content. Undeniably, of all the metal content creations that was out there, Tank going out on the road with Electric Callboy and just giving us a little glimpse of the work, the time it takes, the commitment, and most importantly, we found out through Tank's videos and vlogs that it's not just a shtick. It's not just something that's just for show. Electric Callboy loves each other that much. They love their crew that much. They love their fans that much. It's not a show. They really are as positive as they are because Tank's showing it to you right behind the scenes. There's no way to hide it from him. A lot of times they'll do something that you're like, oh my God, they're really amazing guys. And all of a sudden they'll be like, oh my God, Tank Cam. And they realize he had his camera on. They didn't know until after. And that's why the content was so good. Did Tank still do reactions? Yes, a few, but mainly because of stuff that was so incredible that it was world global news and everybody was dying for him to give his 2 cents about it. So rather than 2 cents, he'd hold back to give him a full quarter, sometimes a whole $1 worth of content goodness. His discussions about music festivals and the struggles behind the scenes, artists, albums, the issues with YouTube, the issues with different promotion companies, what it's like to be on the road, and what it's like to be a dad. And he started a fitness channel, something that I've been watching a lot of, and I hope he posts more about it because I was kind of hoping it'd help me too. Because his content wasn't just about making the meme. It wasn't just about doing what everyone else was doing, commenting or reacting to what everyone else was doing. He was letting us into his life in a way that was impactful and valuable to all of us. So some people were trying to figure out why Tank the Tech won the Nick Nocturnal Award for Best Content Creator. I wasn't. I thought it was his best year ever. Because it was just him doing him. And it worked. Congratulations, Ian. It was earned. It was definitely earned. All right, so I want to talk more about a few other things. Bands, events, things that made us go, oh! In fact, let's talk about that first. The next thing I want to talk about is the most epic event in metal of 2024. Now, there were a couple of standouts, and there's really two that come to my mind and a lot of your mind. Number one was, well, honestly, Gojira. Gojira playing at the Olympics, stealing the show, showcasing what metal is to the world. I don't think ever in an opening ceremony that real, true power, aggressive, progressive metal was showcased. In the Olympics? I mean, I don't even think they've done it in the Super Bowl. The Who doesn't count. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. And then the next one, okay, if that was one of them, what was the other? Well, when they made the announcement, it caused the countdown to the announcement itself went viral. Yes. The reintroduction, the evolution, the return of Linkin Park. Yeah, that was the number one event that shocked everyone and made everyone look and kind of blew everyone away. And not only was the announcement big, well, the follow-through was also huge too because they backed it up. So there you go. Now I'm going to take Gojira off of there for a second because the next thing I want to talk about was the most anticipated thing in 2024. Once they made the announcement, everybody talked about Linkin Park for almost 2 months. You couldn't get away from it even if you wanted to. And then when it finally came out, the return of their music satisfied so many people around the world. But they don't win my vote this year. Nope. My personal event of the most amazing anticipated return in metal. The event where someone, you knew they was coming and everyone got so pumped about it. And when it happened, everyone was more than fulfilled with the anticipation, was the one and only Bloodywood. New Delhi, when those guys came back after the explosion story of this band, coming onto the scene out of nowhere in 2019, not even being a band, COVID hitting them like it hit all of us, and then returning with their debut album just a year later, and then all of us anticipating what was to come next, they did not disappoint. The song New Delhi, along with its video, literally took the world by storm just a few months ago. And then the follow-ups they've had, I mean, they did a collaboration with, I don't know, some Japanese metal band with some women in it that, you know, well, you know what I'm talking about. So there you go. 3 bands, 2 amazing events. One that shocked the world, and the other one, the most anticipated. Linkin Park was in there the whole year. Everyone was just captivated by their story of their return. But you got to give it to Gojira, and you got to give it to Bloodywood, because between the 3 of them, 2024 had some epic moments that we were kind of looking forward to. Well, what else do you want to talk about? All right, we just finished talking about the things that surprised us or the things we were anticipating, and when they happened, we were pumped from this last year in a good way. Now let's talk about the things that came out of nowhere that kind of shocked everybody in a not great way. You know, kind of like waiting in the porta potty line for the Blue Ridge Rock Festival of 2023 and a tornado hit. Talk about a shit show. Speaking of that, on January 20th of 2024, right at the beginning of the year, Sabaton released an announcement saying that Tommy Johansson would be leaving the band. And everyone was kind of blown away by this. Now, you have to know and understand the history of Sabaton for this to make any sense whatsoever. And it confused a lot of people, especially the fans of Sabaton that didn't understand that Tommy wasn't always a member. No, in fact, Thobe, who was the guitarist who was coming back to Sabaton, abruptly left right at the end of Sabaton's big tour a few years back for personal reasons. Now, whatever the reasons are, most of the time when band members need to step away, it's for their mental health, their physical health, the health of the family, personal reasons where they make a change that's good for them and the band before something happens. You want to know what I'm talking about? Revisit the early 2000s of Metallica. But anyway, he stepped away, similar to the way Marco stepped away from Nightwish because he really needed to. It had to happen. And then I think everyone is better for it, whether the hardcore fans like it or not. And this is the same thing with Sabaton. Remember, when Thobe left Sabaton, they had literally one show left on their tour. Tommy Johansson from the amazing band Majestica stepped in to save the day. And he did an amazing job. So much so that a lot of current Sabaton fans that don't know the history of the band don't realize that Tommy hasn't always been a part of that band. And it was magical. He brought a silliness, a youthfulness, and him and Chris on guitar did a great job of being that comic relief that drove Joachim nuts. And that's what we loved about it. Also, Tommy brought a freshness and a frivolity to the videos that made no sense. Go back and look at Christmas Truce. As beautiful and heartbreaking of a video and a triumphant, beautiful piece of storytelling it is, I just can't see Tommy with the fake mustache without going, really? But anyway, Tommy and Sabaton announced the split on January 20th of 2024. Now, a lot of people weren't sure what was going on, but what we did know was that Sabaton was going to be bringing a guitarist in. And the original announcement was that there would be probably a dual guitar playout, similar where you'd always have Chris, and then Tommy and the new guitarist would play together in the live shows, culminating in one of the summer festivals, possibly Sabaton Open Air, where Tommy would wave his goodbyes and that would be the end. Well, that didn't happen either. Just a little bit after that, then it was announced that Tommy wouldn't be part of the tour and that Thobe was back. And they were just going to push on with Thobe, and Tommy was going to continue on his adventures back in Majestica, which was kind of exciting for all of us because Tommy and Majestica hadn't really put out a lot of music since their giant Christmas Carol albums just a few years before. And a new Majestica album is a good thing. In fact, they're working on Powertrain right now. It's going to release this year, and we're kind of pumped about it. Also, Tommy had something else going on. He's been doing a lot of covers on his own YouTube channel. And I do a lot of reactions to his covers because Tommy does covers in a very unique way. It all started where he was doing Sabaton songs that were Disneyfied. Now, he kind of stopped doing that and went to other things. Now, the reason why I'm showing this picture is because your boy did Texas Hold'em by Beyonce, where he played poker with chickens. Don't believe me? Check it out on Tommy Johansson's YouTube channel. Now, so that freed Tommy up to get really, really busy, both on his YouTube channel, but also to rejoin and revitalize Majestica, which we need. Now, Sabaton continued on, played a bunch of amazing festivals, toured with Judas Priest, and they're looking to have one of their biggest years ever. But a lot of the fandom was still fairly confused. Why? Because Sabaton had their biggest growth as a band in popularity around the world and not just Europe during Tommy's tenure with the band. In fact, most American fans of Sabaton only know the Tommy version, so they were kind of confused. It's gonna be okay. And that was all brought to bear at the end of the year when we realized, you know what? It's gonna be okay. Because on the Sabaton cruise, on an ice-covered deck in the middle of, I don't know why you put a cruise ship on a frozen ocean in December and call it fun, but I'm not Swedish, I'm not Norwegian, I'm certainly not Finnish, so what the hell do I know? Majestica was on that cruise. Tommy led Majestica on a full set on that cruise ship and then joined his brothers in Sabaton for Swedish Pagans. All is well in the world. Now, don't look now. We're looking for more stuff coming out of Sabaton in 2025. And of course, the new album for Majestica, Powertrain, is coming out. So if you think about it, I think Tommy leaving was just kind of good for everybody because we all win. It was a little bit confusing for a time, but I think it was creatively best for everyone. Okay, now, speaking of Tommy, I need to talk about the person who needs to take a damn break. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are you talking about Tommy? Well, I am kind of talking about Tommy because part of the reasons why I believe Tommy had to step away from Sabaton was because he was burning the candle at 5 ends. Now, here's the thing. Technically, you can only burn the candle at 2 ends, but that doesn't stop Tommy. Not only was he doing a full tour schedule with Sabaton, which is so engrossing that Majestica had to cancel their Christmas tour last year. So that's how much intensity that goes on when you're a part of Sabaton. It has become a storytelling machine. Sabaton is the music version of the Fat Electrician. And I don't have to tell you how much that guy's life has just exploded. He's selling out venues that major comedians can't sell out. And all he's doing is just talking about military history stuff. Kind of sounds like a Swedish band we all know, doesn't it? Speaking of Tommy, this gave him a little bit more time to start focusing on his YouTube channel to do more of his amazing covers, but also Majestica. Tommy's got to slow down a little bit because every time I talk to this guy, he seems like he's rapidly aging. And even though I always thought that Tommy would be 12 years old for his entire life and never get carded at a bar, my boy's starting to develop a little bit of stress lines around his eyes. Brother, you need to slow down. Now, here's the thing. He's not the winner of a, hey, maybe you should just take a break award for 2024. Nope, that goes to Miss Lauren Babick. Yep, Lauren Babick. Yep, that one. This girl moved to Nashville last year, and apparently she has taken all advantage of it. Let me break it down for you. Not only does she do amazing covers, but she also came out with her first metal originals as a solo artist, in addition to 3 albums with her bands. That one up there, Red Hand in Denial, their new album, which is incredible. She did a tour with Red Hand in Denial that I got to see them live with Unprocessed. They were amazing live. Then she goes off and she revitalizes and reintroduces Crazy 88 with an EP that they brought out with rehashes of their classic great songs, 2 new ones with further music to come in 2025. Not to mention, oops, sorry, I also am going to do a band that shouldn't be a band, but thanks to a little YouTube channel from Jared Dines and some questionable voting, Sky Limit. The band that didn't win Musicians Mansion, but I think they should have. Their song was so good that they became the greatest metal band that technically nobody knows about. And they have an album, an EP coming out next year, or actually this year now that I'm putting it out in 2025. She needs to slow the hell down. Solo metal songs, 2 of them so far in 2024. 3 projects with 3 bands, a tour, and multiple collaborations. Oh, and did I mention she did a crossover with unnecessary, unplanned, and just misplaced harsh vocals in pop, rap, and contemporary hits that had Nicki Minaj and other people going, what the hell is going on? Yes, she did a metal remix of Nicki Minaj, and it went a little viral. And it was kind of exciting for her, and it started a whole new process for her. She dipped her toe in the pool, and apparently the pool pulled her into the deep end this year. My girl needs a break. She's wearing me out. Hardest working woman in metal. And at some point, I know you're supposed to strike while the iron is hot. Girl's gonna burn herself. I'm just saying. But it's okay. She has an adorable new puppy dog now. And Ivy's pretty awesome. My dog thinks she's just amazing. Yeah, that's him yelling. I mentioned Ivy and he gets excited. Isn't that weird? He's such a dog. Now, every person that does a year in review is going to talk about their favorite band, or the video, or the song, or the album, or the live performance that really was the best of this year. And I can't do that. There was just too much amazing music. And fortunately for me, and also unfortunate for me, my community is a global one. So they drag me everywhere, all corners of the earth. Now, I do have a list of bands that I want you guys to be watching out for, and ones that really made an indelible impact on me this year. We're going to start by going to Europe. Of course, bands like Ginger, who really came out, took no prisoners, and are putting out amazing new music right now in anticipation for new albums. Bands like Ad Infinitum with their new album, something that was completely different than anything they've ever done before. Independent artists like Aoife from Germany, who take her unique 3-layered metalcore vocals along with amazing metalcore artists that she knows, and technically we all do if you think about it. She put out some amazing music this year. Then we kick over to Australia, and I think that Australia could be one of the regions of metal and rock we really need to be looking out for in 2025. They piqued my interest this year, but there's something incredible going on in Australia. They don't play by any rules. I understand that there are rules in American metal and rock, and metalcore and hardcore in Europe just kind of dominate. Of course, in Japan, I have no idea if we can even keep up with what's going on there, but it's intense. And all of those regions around the world have had their due in the last 5 years. But I really think that in 2025, you really need to be watching out in Australia. With bands like The Last Mortar, Reliqua, which put out an album this last year, which was incredible, and a band from Perth called Primrose Path. All three of those will knock your socks off. Be looking out for more releases from them. In the United States and Canada, for a while, I was worried about us. I thought, is anybody except Periphery putting out amazing? No, there are a lot of bands putting out amazing music in the United States and Canada. Most of these bands are taking the music industry, whether it's coming out of LA or New York or yes, even Nashville, and saying, nah, we're just going to do our own thing. And it's working. They are getting attention. And they're doing stuff that sits outside the norm, which really has piqued my interest. Bands like Unleash the Archers, with one of the best albums of the year. Their new one is literally, if you took The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Star Trek, you stuck them all together and put it to metal. It is an amazing album from front to back, and it pretty much plays all the time as I'm driving with my kids in the car. Bands like Sixth Sense from Arizona. Not only is the climate down there hot, but so is the music. Their unique blend of nu metal and progressive stylings and creativity with Vicky Sarakis and Rob the Ripper on vocals. It's really something unique you need to check out. Red-Handed Denial, Sky Limit, bands that are Lauren Babick is associated with. Red-Handed Denial came out with one of the best albums of the year. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. It's that big, beautiful purple thing up there. They did a tour this year. Amazing musicians, but more importantly, they're amazing people. Sky Limit, another project that Lauren has with amazing YouTube metal and rock content creators. They just work. And they have a synergy that's undeniable. So when they got off of Musician's Mansion, they were the band that everyone was like, are you guys going to be a real thing? Because that's kind of, you didn't win because it was rigged, but maybe because they cheated that one thing. But anyway, but you're the band that's putting out music that I think we all want to listen to more of. And they're putting out new music this year. That's what I'm saying. You got to watch out for these bands. Also in the United States, independent bands have been really interesting. A band called Strange Like Me put out some music this year, and they came up on my up and coming stream a few times, and their song In My Dreams, it's literally plays all of my Twitch streams. I just cannot get enough of that song. It's so direct. It's so well done. Catchy hook all the way around. I mention all those bands because they all have one thing in common. Yes, all of those bands are led by women. Now, I remember when I started my YouTube channel 4.5 years ago, I was like, wow, women in metal is really awesome. And it's so awesome that they're giving them a chance. And I'm seeing a lot. It's not just Lita Ford and Vixen. They're accepted, not as much as they could have been. But now, good luck finding a lineup at a concert that doesn't have any women in the bands. All of those bands all have one thing in common. And it's not just women on vocals. A lot of these bands have women in all positions, drums, guitars, bass, keys, you name it, they do it. Don't even get me started on the amazing all-female metal bands that are out there. And not just in Japan. Even though the ones in Japan, be careful. If you try to step up to them, they will squash you. And that's just the way it works. There's one band in particular that I want to talk about. And it's the one band that's on this list that I haven't mentioned. This band has put out video after video after video this last year, 2024. They're from Houston, Texas. For some reason, if you're a metal band and you're coming out of Houston, Texas, you can expect something different. They say everything is bigger in Texas, but apparently, if you're a metal band, holy crap, Pantera returns. No, I'm not talking about Pantera, even though they had a great year, and I'm glad to see those guys are back. Well, I think of Oceans of Slumber. They came out with a new album this year, but we know who they are. They've been around a while, and Cammy, she is a Gaia-level goddess of vocals, especially in metal with her soulful renditions. But now they have company in Houston, a band called Gore with a period. Now, this band is led by a woman. This woman works at NASA. I'm not making that up. She's a damn near rocket scientist. She's smarter than you and me, and I'm okay with that. That's not what makes this band so crazy and awesome. Are you ready? They put out metal music that is unlike anything that I've heard to date. With songs like Babylon, and a song that is so unique. If somebody asked me, Old School Nerd, what's the most out of the box, you had no idea what the hell was going on the whole song, but it's on repeat on your playlist? Heaven Above Me by Gore is that song. From the first time I heard it, it has been on my playlist ever since. So check out that band. I don't know how they're not world famous, but again, we go through this every year. There's that band that is so good. How does not everyone in the world know about them? Algorithm, I guess. But check out for Gore. So many amazing things have happened this year with bands. Bands have moved labels, added members. I mean, come on. The next thing I want to talk about, and really my last thing I want to talk about before I go, is gotta have more cowbell. This is a joke to my friends in Frozen Crown. Yes, you gotta have more cowbell. What I didn't know is that the word cowbell is Italian for guitar. I know, I was shocked when I discovered that as well, but apparently the word cowbell in Italian is guitar. So the band Frozen Crown, when they heard the term, you gotta have more cowbell, they added a third guitarist to their band. So Frozen Crown went from a band that played big symphonic power metal to now extreme power metal, the likes of which we haven't really seen since Dragon Force. And here's the thing. Both of the female guitarists of this band are extremely young, and apparently they've got young fingers because they are nimble as all hell. Watching them play kind of reminds me of old school Dragon Force back in the day. So extreme power metal is in good hands, thanks to Frozen Crown. 3 guitarists, I know, it's a lot, but it's worth checking out. My name is Old School Nerd. 2024 was a crazy year. And if you're one of the artists or bands that I've done reactions to this year, know that if I would not have put a reaction to your video on my channel unless it spoke to me in some way. I shot a lot of reactions. Some of them I didn't like. And if I didn't have something nice to say, I didn't put it on YouTube because, well, that's just me being honest. But it's okay. To all of my community out there, thank you so much for supporting me. In 2025, we will have a few format changes. We'll have a day where the only thing we're going to do is talk about one country somewhere in the world. And what is the metal scene in that country? Another day, no matter what request you guys give, and I don't care if it's my favorite band of all time, it's nothing but roasts. We're never going to stop doing up-and-coming bands because up-and-coming artists are the next Bloodywood, the next Ginger, the next Spirit Box. You never know who's going to be that next big band. Why don't we look for them together? I want to start this year the same way I end every video. Are you ready? My name is Old School Nerd. I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you for being part of my life and this metal journey I'm continuing on. Love one another. Take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons out there for everything you do. And if you want more content like this, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.